Welcome to Retirement with Jim. So today we're going to talk about the real cost of retirement and why your budget might fail in 3 to 5 years. So before we get started, if you like my content, please subscribe. Helps my channel grow, along with hitting the like button. It does wonders for my channel. So with that, let's get started. So when you have a low budget retirement and you are really got everything all fine tuned to, you're not living on a whole lot of big money. Excuse me. Um, these are the things that this type of retirement can really feel the impact of why your budget may potentially fail. Um, so let's start off with the fact that you're on a fixed income. And for those who are on Social Security only, and there's quite a few people that are, it's a tough nut to crack. You one little slip and you can be under and in trouble in no time flat. Um, so on a low budget retirement, you have to think about things like inflation. Now, inflation is a great example of, so even for me, I didn't take inflation into account. So with the cost of food going up and gas, you know, the mortgages for people, mortgages stay steady, but your rent, your utility, those overall costs can really rise. For instance, my HOA has gone up twice last year. Um, and I look at some of the stuff that, I still have what I consider a reasonable cost for my HOA, but I have to seriously look at what am I getting for what I'm paying? Is it really worth my money? Not a lot you can do about it, except maybe get actively involved and make sure you voice your opinion about what you like and don't like. Um, But gas, for instance, let's take a look at that. Gas, I have a small car, two-seater, but it takes premium gas. So I was always paying just under $5 a gallon. And oh man, it was killer. I was up to $80 to fill up a small tank, and that was just difficult to deal with. Um, Now, gas has started to come down, and it's still fluctuating up and down, but it has come down a little bit to be a little bit more reasonable. But that is something where you consider yourself, okay, how much driving do I have to do? Where am I going? Maybe you have to plan that a little better on your trips and what you're doing. Now, one thing that really, and utilities, our utilities only went up a little bit, but they still went up. Town next to us, they're in a big brouhaha over their water increases, and it's tough here out in the West, out in Arizona, because water is a resource that is tremendously important, and paying for water and your water usage. And it may have been taken for granted years ago, but you really have to think about it and consider it now. So, but the one that hit us the hardest was food. Oh my God. So, you've got eating out for one. But that's kind of easy to curtail because you can just say, okay, I'm going to go out less and I'll eat, we'll make food at home. But so the cost of eating out is gone up tremendously. Now the cost of food in the store, that is just out of control. And it isn't all, you certainly can't say it's all due to tariffs. A lot of it in my opinion, is to corporate greed. They want to make more money. They're going to take advantage of that, the fact that, prices are up everywhere and they're just going to charge you more, and they'll talk about, getting prices down. I guarantee you one thing. You look at history, when prices go up, especially in the category of food, you rarely see them come down. They'll offer you coupons and maybe an occasional sale, but the basic cost of that food is not going back down. So no matter what administration, and fortunately it is the unfortunate circumstances of this administration that has driven that way up and out of control. And they have given free license to corporate America to do what you want, charge what you want, and they're not worried about it. They're not concerned about it. And so that has a dire effect on your budget. And that inflation is probably a number one killer of what is going to hurt your budget in the long term. So the next thing on your list is healthcare, health costs. They just continue to rise. I changed this year from my prescription provider to another one because it was going up over $60, $66 a month. And so I was like, I'm not going to absorb that. So I had to search, and I found another carrier, another provider, and switched to them. And of course, have to do what you have to do to maintain, your healthcare cost. Getting sick, I'm trying my best to avoid going to the doctor and staying as healthy as possible. So it really makes me think about, okay, I got to be out and be a little bit more active to stay as healthy as possible. I have to look at what I'm eating and what I drink and what I consume, so that obviously plays a part in your healthcare and inevitably your healthcare costs. So and all you need is one healthcare incident to send you over the cliff. The rise in healthcare bankruptcies is tremendous. It's up by 32%, and they're doing everything they can to try to make that you don't suffer. The government is trying to work on some of that. But they haven't been very successful, and the rising cost of healthcare has just made that so hard to manage. So when you live on a fixed income, you have got to really look at, are you budgeted for everything? I didn't budget for inflation. I'll admit it. That was wrong on my behalf, and I'm kind of paying a little bit of the cost for that. I'm much wiser now and take a much serious look at, how to, where to budget, maybe move money from one area to another to make it less of an impact on us. But when you're out there, plan for these things, because if you are on a low income and you are on a moderate budget and you're trying to save money, you got to think about all these things, and the healthcare costs, the inflation, all of those things really play a part in the success or failure of where you're going to land. So it doesn't mean you can't, live on a trim budget, a small budget, but you got to have planned it out well. So with that, tell me what you think. Tell me, do you agree? Are you someone who is, really budget conscious, or are you someone who's really kind of just, I'm okay, I got enough money, I'm okay, I don't have to think about it. So where do you fit in on the scale? Let me know in the comments below. Love to hear from you. So with that, I'm going to tell you have a great day, and I will see you in the next one.